EducMgt.
Good morning. Our VP for Globalization is here. Our resource speaker, esteemed President, Dr. X is here, so we can officially start the program. Together with our personal example, we all lift up to God Almighty in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Ang dugong gumuhit ng ating kasaysayan, ng ating pagkatao, ng ating lahi, ay ang dugo ng kabayanihan. Mula sa mga bakas na iniwan ng ating mga ninuno, ating ipinagpapatuloy ang kanilang nasimulan sa mga paraang hinihingi ng anumang panahon. Taglay ang ipinamanang kagitingan at inspirasyon. Dahil ang apoy na sumiklab ilang siglo na ang nakalilipas ay nabubuhay pa rin sa atin magpahanggang ngayon.
Good morning po sa lahat. Isang mapagpalayang umaga po sa lahat. I always believe that Collab group of students and the entire PCU Transnational Education Extension Program, students of the graduate schools, both for masters and PhD, are always honored every time we conduct a webinar series of conferences, because we are always welcome and participated by the PCU agile leaders, most especially our beloved president and our VP for globalization. They are all here Sunday day to day. So they're always saying yes, no, to our activities. I have seen President June is here, Dr. BP Margie is here, and of course, later on, we will be introducing our resource speaker. My president, Dr. X, is here. So let us all welcome first our administrators of PCU. May I call on first BP for Globalization and Extension for her opening remarks to this gathering, Dr. Margie de la Cruz, and it will be followed by our President, Dr. Junipen Gawan. BP Margie, good morning. You're muted po.
Good morning, Dr. Matt, and a warm and pleasant morning to everyone who is present for this research colloquium to prepare and equip our students with the current trends and innovations in the world of research and output management. We are truly excited to welcome all of you here at the PCU Globalization and Extension Program cluster, which includes the Transnational Education and Extension Program, online education and professional advancement, and of course, the Graduate School of Business Management Department under its umbrella. We are equally grateful for the initiatives of Collab under Dr. Matt Malaking for making this activity possible, and with the able support and guidance of our University President, Dr. Junipen F. Gawan, who is with us this morning. Our team here at the PCU Globalization, Transnational Education, and Extension Program is more than willing to oblige and assist you in every step of the way so that you can fulfill your academic endeavors without hassle and obstacle as much as possible. The great well of knowledge and seat of wisdom that our special guest speakers will share with you today will serve as tools toward your advancement and excellence in the academic world, where the new normal has emerged and become the current modality in our education landscape. Indeed, we are truly blessed as we continue our positive strive here at PCU. So before we officially start this seminar on paper output colloquium, allow me to once again give you my most sincere greetings, and may our Almighty God incessantly bless us with His wisdom and compassion. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, BP Margie, for your presence today. We highly appreciate your sharing of thoughts today's activity, for our students. And to continue with another inspiring message, we just had a short conversation, and then he is on a duty somewhere, in the province, but we're so honored that he is able to log in today's activity. Our President, Dr. Junipen F. Gawan. Morning, President. Yes, morning, President. President June. just FYI, he mentioned yesterday that his place is not so good in terms of connectivity, but he is trying. I think we have seen him. Okay, any moment he will be joining. We'll just wait for a good connectivity, for our president. Okay. But we would like also to acknowledge our PCU administrators who have been helping us all throughout this journey, because today is the presentation of the terminal requirement for our Masters in Management program. Yes, President, can you hear us? President June?
I am calling him Doc Matt because
Okay.
he's now in Batangas.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see him. Actually, he's here.
Doc Matt, wala siyang mic. Only video lang.
Video.
We're
Okay.
just pag-sign, resign ulit.
So we just would like to acknowledge some PCU administrators who have been supportive of our journey to completing our degrees. So we have BP for Finance, Mark Jetro Kababan. We also have our Research University Director for Research, Dr. Jaime Jiang. We also have our energetic, of course, our BP for Information Technology and Communication, Dr. Mario Miranda, and for the Open Education Professional Administration, our head, also for the Education Graduates Program, Dr. Vida Jimenez. We would like also to acknowledge our Transnational Education Extension Program Administrator, our director now, which is Dr. Jeffrey Perida, and the Master in Management Program head for management. We have Ms. Joanna Rose Rosales. So I think no worries, we can wait anytime for the president to join us. So at this juncture.
He's with us na. He's
Yeah.
with us, Doc.
Okay, at this juncture, we would like to thank our PCU support services. Thank you so much for leadership, assistance, and support to our students. As mentioned earlier, we have around 164 graduate this March 27, joining the graduates of PCU for the academic year. So that's for our group, the Collab extension. May I call on now Dr. Judith Batin, adjunct faculty, to introduce to us our keynote resource speaker. Dr. Jet, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Doc Matt. Okay, good morning, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our keynote resource speaker. Our keynote resource speaker is the OIC President and concurrent Vice President for Academic Affairs of the University of Makati, a leading local university of the Philippines. Dr. Ramos, or better known as Prof. X, is a career executive service eligible. He served as a member of the Commission on Higher Education Technical Working Group on K+12 Transition Program and a consultant of the K-12 Plus project of the German corporation, developing a plus program for students taking technical, vocational, and livelihood track in senior high school. Moreover, he is also a trained arbitrator of the Philippine Dispute Resolution Center Incorporated, a director of the Philippine National Red Cross Rizal Chapter, Makati Branch, a fellow of the Society of Fellows in Supply Management, president of the Philippine Association of Extension Program Implementers, Makati Chapter, and a member of the board of the Association of Local Colleges and Universities Commission on Accreditation. Dr. Ramos finished his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration in Economics and Master in Business Administration at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran, Manila, and his Doctor of Philosophy and Management at the International Academy of Management and Economics with distinction. He is also Senior Lecturer on Economics, Entrepreneurship, and Financial Literacy, and has extensive experience in project management. Dr. X and his wife, Joyce, are also an advocate of family and marriage life by being a team couple that provides family and marriage enrichment. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome with virtual applause our keynote resources speaker, President Dr. Elyxzur C Ramos. Morning, sir.
Thank you very
Morning.
much.
Morning, Doc X.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma'am Judith, for that very kind introductions. Before I start, let me first, of course, acknowledge and greet our President, President June, our Vice President, Vice President Marge, and all the other officers of the Philippine Christian University. Magandang umaga po. Thank you for having me this morning. And of course, all our students who are here this morning. Thank you for the invitation. Actually, the other day I was chatting with Dr. Matt, and I was asking him, how much time are you going to give me, and what would be the flow of the talk this morning? Do you want me to deliver a lecture? Do you want me to deliver an inspiration? Do you want me to challenge our students who are here right now to pursue their passion, especially on what they have taken up at the Philippine Christian University? And actually, while I was preparing my presentation for this morning, I came about an article from the World Economic Forum, their Global Risk Report for 2022. And let me start off by sharing this Global Risk Report to everyone before I share the slides later on. Now, obviously, there are a lot of economic challenges that will be following after the pandemic. And I have always said, I guess no one among us here actually probably thought that we would actually be living in a time of a pandemic and a war that is happening now in Ukraine. So the economic fallout from the pandemic actually, and the ongoing war now between Russia and Ukraine, is compounding actually the labor market imbalances, protectionism, and widening digital education and skills gap that is splitting the world into divergent trajectories. What do I mean by this? In economics, when we talk about we are heading towards a divergent economy, that means the poor economies are getting to become more poorer, and the richer economies are actually getting to become more richer. And that is what we are seeing right now. There is now a much bigger widening gap between the rich and the poor economies. And there are a lot of factors that can compound this divergent economy. And I'd like us to also think about these factors, because in one way or the other, these factors are currently affecting the way we live right now. One of these factors is a disorderly climate transition. Okay? We are now witnessing climate change, and it is now manifesting rapidly in the form of droughts, fires, floods, resource scarcity, and species loss. Now, among other impacts, in fact, in 2020, there was a report that I read that multiple cities around the world are experiencing extreme temperature not seen for years. An example of which is the record high temperature in Madrid of 42.7 degrees centigrade and a 72-year low of negative 19 degrees centigrade in Dallas. And our country is actually not spared from this effects of climate change. Normally, in the Philippines, typhoons would usually start from the eastern part of the Philippines, okay, going up, no? Usually passing by the Bicol region, going up to central Luzon, and then would exit down to Batanes. But now the trajectory of storms, most of them actually now start in the western side of the Philippines, and some even start from Mindanao going up to the Visayas. And we've witnessed, no, this climate change that is affecting now our economy. Another one is the growing digital dependency, which will intensify now cyber threats. The pandemic has actually taught us that the importance of harnessing technology. Though it has its advantages, we have seen also a great increase in cyber attacks. In fact, by the year 2021, last year, there was a report that cyber attacks increased by 435%. And the Philippines was actually also put in bad light at that time, because in 2019, the Philippines was actually part of an international crime cyber attack when it attacked the Central Bank of Bangladesh. And just very recently, I guess maybe you know a person or two might have been affected by the recent cyber attacks in one major banking institution in our country. And this has brought about a lot of fears about how safe is our digital dependency at this time. Okay. Another one, of course, is the barriers to mobility risk compounding global insecurity. Now, when we talk about barriers to mobility risk, we're talking about the effects of migration and how the COVID pandemic has affected migration in our country. Okay. Now we see that a lot of our Filipino overseas workers, who we consider as our modern day heroes, are now losing their work because of fear of the virus and are now being laid off, and most of them are going back here in the Philippines without any assurance of how they can provide for themselves economically, and also how they can be able to provide for their families. So these are just some of the factors that are affecting our economy right now. And very recently, as I mentioned, the effect of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine has pushed prices of fuel up. And there are reports that in the days to come, these prices will continue to rise, and it will eventually affect not only us who are the consuming public, but basically everyone, every sector in our economy will be affected by this crisis. So it's not as if I'm painting a doomsday scenario, but these are realities that we have to live in at this time. So the question is, especially for the students who are here joining this forum this morning, is if this is the scenario that I'm looking at in the future, our economy going towards a divergent economy wherein there will be widening gap between the rich and the poor, our economy being affected by climate change, uncertainty on the use of technology because of cyber attacks, and also barriers to migration wherein more and more people are losing jobs. So how can I, as a student taking a business or a student wanting to improve my productivity as a human being, be able to address these concerns? Okay. So, paano nga ba? Parang magne-negosyo pa ba ako? Itutuloy ko pa ba itong ginagawa ko when there are a lot of uncertainties that is facing our economy? So, that being said, let me share with you very quickly a video that I usually start off whenever I discuss I take up my class in global economy. Let me just share the screen. And with that, actually, I would like to really focus my talk on what Philippine Christian University has done. You know, I was thinking on really what to present, and then with my conversation with Matt, Dr. Matt, and what the Philippine Christian University has done in terms of redefining the market in education. As a school administrator, I attend various meetings with presidents of different universities, not only amongst local colleges and universities, but also that of private colleges and universities. I am a resource person that they always invite when there are PBED presentations. And one of the most common complaints that we've been hearing right now amongst tertiary education, especially amongst private individuals, is they are now losing their students. Okay? In fact, in one private tertiary institution where I teach part-time, there are talks that if in 2 or 3 years' time, their student population will not be able to pick up, then they might consider closing down the program. Okay? And probably slowly phasing out some of the colleges under that university or under that college. And we have seen a lot of schools that have declared that they are closing down because they have strategized in such a way that they are trying to compete with the same standards, with the same metrics, which is trying to lower the cost and trying to be different from another school. But in the process of being different, it is not really in the real context of being remarkably different. Okay? So what I have shared a while ago is basically how we can redefine our market boundaries. In a very good case, and if I'll be given an opportunity, I'd like to write a case about the Philippine Christian University on how they were able to redefine market boundaries when it comes to graduate students, especially with their globalization and internationalization. This is, I think, one of the way moving forward, especially because of the pandemic, wherein there is now, it's a boundless ecosystem right now. I am here in my office and I am talking to 101 individuals remotely. I don't know if some of you are here in Metro Manila or some of you are in the provinces or some of you are even outside the country, but we can be in a platform wherein we can exchange ideas, learning, and at the same time, we can work at our own pace. But the challenge here now is this. Other institutions are also now trying to do what we are doing right now. I am sure that other educational institutions are also trying to do what the Philippine Christian University is also doing. But the challenge, and this is what my late mentor and guru, the former president of the University of Makati, Professor Lopez, would say, the challenge is actually not to make ourselves more purpler. When you are familiar with the purple cow strategy, for those who are not familiar with it, let me just very quickly say what it is. No? The purple cow strategy is basically redefining your market. If you had, even if you had the fattest cow, even if you have the whitest cow or the blackest cow or the brownest cow, it would still be an ordinary cow because all cows looks, the color is brown, white, or black. But if you have a purple cow, it will always stand out because it is different. And you create a niche for your own market. The problem is, if others would see that your purple cow is now attracting customers, okay, then the others would also paint their cow purple. And the usual strategy of the first one to adapt would be to make their cow more purpler, which is the wrong strategy. The strategy now is to again reinvent your purple cow and make it green, or make it pink, or make it blue, or make it red. And that is a continuing search for excellence that is now being challenged to each and every one of us here. Okay? To each and every one of us here. The objective is to always be able to find a way at the end of the day to satisfy our customers. You always have to keep that in mind when you are asked, what is the primary objective of why I am doing this? What is the primary objective of why I would go into business? What is the primary objective of why am I pursuing a graduate study for my personal growth or for the growth of my business, or if I want to venture into a particular line of profession? The bottom line is always to satisfy our customers. Profit becomes a bonus because we don't have any profit to speak of if we have an unsatisfied customer. And the key for us to be able to satisfy our customers is to treat each customer differently. We create a niche for our customers. It cannot be a one-size-fits-all. It cannot be a customized, it cannot be rather a standardized type of approach. It really has to be customized based on each individual customer's needs and wants. And what we are doing right now is a form of customization, because not everyone can actually work or study or learn in this kind of a setup. Not everyone can actually grow in this kind of a setup, but there are people who are actually more comfortable in this kind of a setup. But at the end of the day, the goal is how do we further improve ourselves and how we can further develop a niche for what we are doing. So that being said, let me try to challenge each and every one of you here who are listening. You know, I actually have a PowerPoint presentation which has about 70 slides, but I'll try to deviate from that. And let me just share with you our journey at the University of Makati and how the parallelism that I see now with the Philippine Christian University, and how this can probably inspire and challenge each and every one of you here listening, especially when you present your final papers later on. I was informed by Dr. Matt that this is going to be a platform wherein you can actually share your output later on throughout the day. When I first joined the University of Makati 20 years ago, the university had a branding problem. Very typical of a local university. We were the school of last choice. Kasi, syempre, political university, so ang nasa isip ng mga tao, people would always think that as long as I'm a Makati resident, I will always be accepted there. So I will first apply at Ateneo, I will first apply at LaSalle, I will first apply at UP, or in other universities, especially if my budget may not be able to afford it, maybe go to Adamson, the mid-tier universities. Okay, and if I don't pass the admissions exam, or later on realize that we don't have resources for us to be able to continue studying in those universities that I mentioned, then I go to the University of Makati. It was the school of last choice. In fact, there was an ongoing joke then when you ask students at the university, saan ka nag-aaral? The comment would be, sa DLSU. Saan yung DLSU? De La Salle University. No, dyan lang sa UMA. That was how students before of the university would actually perceive the University of Makati. So when Professor Lopez and I first came to the university, we realized right away that there was a branding problem as far as the university is concerned. Mahirap na nga yung mga estudyanteng pumapasok sa UMA. Yung tingin pa nila sa sarili nila napakababa. Tapos kapag mag-a-apply sila ng trabaho, kahit nga OJT pa lang, lalo pa silang manliliit kasi hindi kilala yung eskwelahang pinag-aralan nila. I remember there was even a time that we even had to beg companies just to allow our students access or just be given access to take their on-the-job training. That was how poorly the university was perceived to be, not only by our students, but other stakeholders in our community. But the first thing that we did was to redefine our mission and our vision. We said that we are the University of Makati, so we should be able to partake of the economic progress that is happening in the city. Okay? Para ka pa na meron kang eskwelahan, kaso na pinupondohan ng syudad, kaso kung yung mga graduates mo naman, hindi naman makapagtrabaho doon mismo sa syudad kung saan nandun yung universidad, bakit ka pa nagtayo ng eskwelahan? Okay? So, the first strategy that we actually did was to redefine who we are and redefine how are we going to deliver education in the university. What we did was we embarked in a strategy which we call dualized university education system, wherein we invited the different owners and locators of businesses here in Makati, called them for a meeting and asked them, what would it take for you to hire eventually graduates of the University of Makati? In short, we asked them, anong hinahanap nyo sa isang graduate? And we banked on our autonomy, and this has been a long-standing debate with CHED, because CHED is celebrating its 28th year of founding this year. The University of Makati is celebrating its 50th year of founding this year. So mas matanda po kami sa CHED, and I'm sure the Philippine Christian University is much also older than the Commission on Higher Education. So that being said, because we are created through an operation of law, we've said that we're autonomous. Who needs CHED? Okay? CHED's function is dual, regulatory and developmental, but the systems in CHED makes it very difficult for it to be developmental because the instruments that they use is highly geared towards being regulatory. Like, for example, if you are having your program accredited, the instrument that they use is highly regulatory, like asking you to produce 5 titles of 5 books within 5 years. That is highly regulatory. And we've experienced that even during this time of pandemic, when you have your program accredited, they will still look for that 5 titles, 5 copies printed within the last 5 years. When no student is actually going to the school, it will just eat up library space, it will just eat up extra cost, when in fact, these resources can be available online already. But still, CHED would insist you must produce those physical copies. So this is an example of a highly regulatory environment, pretending to be developmental in nature. It is very difficult. So going back to my story, we embarked on that rebellious attitude that, okay, never mind what the regulators are talking about, because at the end of the day, the results will prove whether or not what we are doing is right and is actually very good. And what are those results? When we asked the industry to sit down with us, told them, can you develop with us a curriculum that you would need and that you are actually looking for? Can you also redefine internship or on-the-job training? Because most of us are products of an OJT program wherein the number of hours is actually mandated by the school, usually 200 hours. 200 hours is like barely a month of stay in a company if you're working there like 8 hours a day during your OJT. So the companies will not really invest in training you because they know that after a month you'll be gone. So at most what they will do is ask you to buy their lunch or to make coffee or photocopy files in the office. That's the best training that you can get in that 1 month time. How to make very good coffee, where to find the cheapest store to buy lunch, and how to use the Xerox machine. I think that was our OJT then. But we told them, how long would it take for you to actually train our students for them to be useful for your company? Okay. So you also tell us how many hours you need them for on-the-job training, and we will adjust also our curriculum. And the results were not only good, it was very, very, very good. Because the students were exposed to much longer times in the company. If there would be an opportunity for them to be absorbed, why would the company get from someone else when the student that came from UMAC can be productive on the first day of work? Kasi 5 buwan na siyang nag-OJT doon. And in terms of skills and knowledge as well, because it was the industry that designed the curriculum, and we did not even go to CHED to have it approved because, you know, at CHED, even period and commas are being debated upon because, you know, a lot of learned individuals are there. No, it would usually take about a year or more than a year for you to get any amendments or improvements in a curriculum approved. And by the time that it gets approved, there are new developments that would need to be in place. So we have to be fluid in our nature and in our character, especially because we are in the business of educating the youth. A lot of developments come, you know, a lot of improvements, a lot of new methodologies are being developed, and a lot of needs are also being raised by the industry. So we were the first university to develop a program in building and property management. It makes sense because there are a lot of properties in Makati. There are buildings that would need a property manager. Okay? We were the first university to develop a program on Bachelor in Marketing, major in retail marketing. And this was in partnership with the Philippine Retailers Association. We were the first to develop a program in purchasing and supply chain management. We were also the first to develop a program in animation. Okay? And we were also the first university to also develop a career-specific program in the business process outsourcing or BPO. Even before the CHED actually released a service management curriculum, we were already offering these programs at the university. And we even redefined equivalency programs. Okay? We said that in the program of ETIAP, okay, we said we can further improve this because the ETIAP program will take a look at how many units you've taken up in college, and then they will tell you, oh, you still lack these subjects and this number of units, and they will ask you to take those subjects even if that subject is not relevant to the present work or profession that you are doing. Like for example, they will, if you lack X units of mathematics, they will ask you to take up algebra, to take up calculus, even if those subjects are not relevant to what you're presently doing. And it actually got us into trouble because, you know, one graduate of our program is running for president, and I know that he is also a student at the Philippine Christian University at this time, Senator Pacquiao. But when we decided to actually give him a bachelor's degree, equivalent bachelor's degree in political science, it makes perfect sense because He has been a legislator for more than 12 years already as a congressman, as a senator, and as a local official at in his hometown in General Santos City. So we have redefined basically how we want to deliver education in the university. And the results, 3 months after graduation, our graduates gets employed. We have consistently produced board top-notchers. Our board passing is more than the national passing average here in the Philippines. And right now, if before the University of Makati was the school of last choice, now it is a school of first choice amongst students who wants to take up or who wants to earn a bachelor's degree. And I can say that with pride that we have already accomplished a lot because we have redefined our market boundaries. Our decision was not to compete with Ateneo, not to compete with LaSalle, not to compete with UP. When I say not to compete, meaning not to compete with the courses that they are offering, because we will not be able to beat them at their own game, because they have been mastering those programs for a long time already. But to compete in areas where these universities and these other schools actually did not see as a potential opportunity where we can actually get students, especially in partnership with the industry. And right now, I had a meeting with our admissions director 2 weeks ago. And because we were during the Board of Regents meeting that I had with our mayor, I brought up the idea of reviving the admissions exam for this coming school year. Because for the past 2 school years, we have not administered the admissions exam, obviously because of the pandemic. So she told me, how many students are we looking at who have inquired admissions at the university? So I had to get the data from our admissions director. For this coming school year, 2022 to 2023, there are already 24,000 applicants. 24,000 applicants. Can you just imagine that? Some private tertiary institutions would probably, be paying millions of pesos just for them to be able to get those number of applicants apply at their university. And out of that 24,000 applicants, 18,000 have already submitted. We placed a deadline, 18,000 have already submitted their requirements for admission for this coming school year. And out of that 18,000, only 3,000 students would be accepted. And this is now what the University of Makati has become, because we have redefined our market. And this is also what I see at the Philippine Christian University when PCU decided to redefine its market. Why focus on the bachelor's program? It's not making any money for our university anymore. Okay, but this is a perfect opportunity for us to redefine our market. While others are actually not looking at this opportunity, we grab it and take a look at the people who are here right now in this platform. You actually are the reason why we were able to redefine the market at Philippine Christian University. So if you have that mindset in you right now, and you apply that in your course of study, in your course of work, okay, in your chosen profession, how can I redefine the market? How can I change the boundaries? Who are the customers that I'm potentially looking at that others may have neglected, and how I can actually be able to grow this business, and grow this opportunity. So that at the end of the day, the doomsday scenario that I mentioned, the divergent economy can be lessened because we can be able to give more opportunities, especially to those who are needy. Okay. Whatever impact because of the pandemic and because of the ongoing war right now between Ukraine and Russia can at least be minimized in our own little way. And this is my challenge to each and every one of you as I end, to be remarkably different, to actually look for means and ways for you to be able to expand your horizon and expand your market. So again, my congratulations to Philippine Christian University for redefining the market, especially in global education and international education. And my congratulations to all of the students who are here in this platform. I hope that in the near future, we can be able to see each other personally. And I can personally congratulate you as you finish your course of study at the Philippine Christian University. Muli po, maraming salamat sa pag-imbita at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Thank you so much, President Dr. X. I think that was so inspiring. At the same time, we call it challenge, no? So challenge for these graduate students and the rest of us here present in the divergent, world. And reconstruct, I think reconstruct is the theme, no? Talagang we need to be different, not only different with the rest of the other providers, no? But thinking out of the box, no? Just like what you presented in the video. So that was, I think, inspiring also. So at this point, may I call on again Dr. Batin to read the Certificate of Appreciation for our resource speaker.
Thank you, Doc Matt. So once again, thank you, President Ramos, for sharing your invaluable insights to us today. Okay? Philippine Christian University awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Elyxzur C Ramos for his invaluable insights as keynote resources speaker during the second project seminar paper colloquium with the theme Integrating Theory and Practice, given this 20th day of March 2022 via Zoom Meet Manila, Philippines. Signed, President Jonathan F. Gawan. Once again, thank you, President Ramos.
Thank you. And we actually had the certificate when we visited the office of President X, no, the last week. So thank you so much. Can we take this opportunity, President, to photo op for the rest of the other? I know you're busy with the day-to-day, so we can hope to take this opportunity. Can we share our videos? Okay, so we can take a photo op. Thank you. So we have 5 screens together with our resource speaker this morning. So let me start. Maybe we can have 10 or 2 seconds of our smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Second screen. Hold on. Third screen. Okay. So maraming salamat po sa lahat. Okay, now we come into the point, no, of listening. No? So we shall listen to the outputs of the different programs for Master in Management. So we start off with Master in Management, major in Environmental Planning. May I call on Dr. Yoj Santiago to introduce our presenters. Morning, Doc Yoj.
Hello. Am I heard already po?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much po for this opportunity, Dr. Matt. By the way, I am pleased to introduce to you two sets of papers that were submitted to me by our students in Master in Management major in Environmental Planning. The program itself is a preparatory to the requirement of the Professional Regulation Commission to take the Urban Planning, Environmental Planning Board exams starting for years 2020 onwards. The program started with 5 students, and now they have finished the program for 3 trimesters. They already passed a comprehensive exams, and this activity or event culminates already the finished product of our university to produce our first set of takers of the urban planning board exams, hopefully this coming July 2022. And hoping also that we will be able to have a 100% passing of our graduates for the urban planning boards. Without further ado, the first one of the papers submitted to me by our students or our candidates for graduation this coming March 27 is the Lake Buhi Saving the Last Drop Water, a collective effort for sustainability and water security, environmental integrity, which the proponents are Ms. Carmelita Marquez, Engineer Limuel Tangia, and June Philip Morales. The next paper submitted to me was entitled Participatory Land Use Management along the riverbanks of Malay Aklan. And the students under this who submitted the program, the project or paper, are Ms. Leia Monica Hirig, Ms. Maria Cristina Biliserio, and Ms. Maria Rio B. Rosales. So if they are here already, kindly message me who will be the first group to present. Is the group of Engineer Limuel ready to present their paper? Hello?
Kami po, sir, ready.
Okay. Also, the group of Ma'am Leia and the paper entitled Participatory Land Use Management along riverbanks of Malay Aklan is now ready to present. So I will now give them the floor. Can you share screen your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Participatory land use management along the riverbanks in Malayaklan. The participatory land use management along the riverbanks in Malayaklan aims to address the problems in flooded communities along the riverbanks of the major rivers in Malayaklan, namely Malay River, Nabaoy River, Napaan River, and Potol River. These major rivers overflow due to massive amounts of rain, especially during a typhoon. However, it should be noted that the most recent extensive flooding in the western side of Aklan happened days after the onslaught of Typhoon Odette in central Visayas and northeastern Mindanao. These unprecedented rainfall incidents left Malaynons unprepared and unaware of the risks, having the perception that fluvial flooding in Malay has minimal hazard. Riverbanks and low-lying areas previously not submerged in water have become flooded after severe rainfall. Inundation of riverbanks and low-lying areas destroy infrastructure, disrupt business operations, damage crops and property, and potentially spread waterborne diseases. This project intends to provide a local adaptation framework for disaster resilience of the communities affected by flooding in Malayaklan. Community awareness, participation, and adaptation efforts are the key elements to address the problem. Awareness and appreciation of maps on the part of local leaders and policymakers will play a vital role in land use planning and development. The community is the first-hand beneficiaries, who will play a major role in carrying out the objectives of the project. Malaynons must understand the intensity of the problem in the long run, essentially because the municipality has proposed to become a city. This environmental problem has to be addressed, and climate change adaptation has to be integrated with the updating of the comprehensive land use plan of the municipality. After the implementation of the project, the local planners and developers are expected to have prepared a disaster-resilient plan for the community, and the riverbank settlers are more equipped and capacitated to adopt the disaster risk of flooding. The impact of the project will be substantial to the cityhood of Malayaklan in the near future. The lessons learned from the rehabilitation of the neighboring Boracay Island served as a physical evidence of overdevelopment with lesser deliberation of policies on environmental conservation and protection already in place. However, the success of the rehabilitation efforts of the government demonstrates effective implementation of the rule of law in the face of urban sprawl in terms of housing and business establishments. The same is most likely to happen in mainland Malay, but with a climate-sensitive land use plan integrated with long-term climate mitigation and adaptation strategies, the future city of Malay will be disaster resilient.
Project background: Malay is one of the 17 municipalities that comprise the province of Aklan, having a land area of 6,601 hectares or 66.01 square kilometers, comprising only 3.56% of the total land area of the province. It is blessed with a natural geographic wonder dubbed as the world's best beach, Boracay Island, hence dubbed as our home, your destination. It is discussed in the CLUP that floods in Malay are caused by the overflowing of Putol, Napaan, Nabaoy, and Malay rivers during heavy rain. These flooding incidents can be worsened by the proposed hydroelectric power plant located in Barangay Nabaoy, especially during the construction. Developments taking place in upstream areas affect downstream communities. Flooding has been the case for most riverbank settlers in Malay Aklan, but this project aims to address the newly arising problem in areas previously unaffected by flooding. In addition, climate change and global warming caused increasingly stronger storms, and the Philippines is one of the most vulnerable countries to natural disasters. It is highly important to address the country's lack of preparedness and capability to cope with disasters, especially the vulnerability of communities that are most susceptible to flooding. The global discourse on climate change mitigation is reducing greenhouse emissions for developed countries, but for the Philippines, adaptation is more important and more feasible. Filipinos are resilient, but we need policies and infrastructure that ensure disaster risk reduction. For the project requirements, this project will require collaborative efforts from the local government, planners and developers, vulnerable communities, and environmental experts. Details of the project. The project will focus first on identifying the possibility, frequency, and severity of flooding incidents in Malayaklan by using available data on satellite images, population, land use, and rainfall data to create a computer modeling of the river systems in the municipality. These are the key components used to develop a flood hazard map. Consultation and involvement of experts in GIS and remote sensing will also be required to fully upgrade the flood hazard map for Malayaklan. Once the data is made available, community involvement will follow. A series of capability training and seminars will be provided for the communities affected by flooding. Mitigation policies and adaptation strategies will be introduced to Malaynons to help reduce the impacts and risk of natural disasters.
Solutions and approach. The project will undergo three phases, namely awareness, participation, and adaptation. The same are the three key elements of the project. Awareness. This phase is the initial approach to the project, wherein understanding and appreciation of maps will be enhanced for the local leaders and developers. This phase includes data gathering, computer modeling, mapping conference, and crafting of disaster risk management plan participation. This phase will focus on involving the community in the planning process, as they are the ones directly affected by flooding incidents along the riverbanks. Participation phase includes activities such as community-based disaster risk management, community drills, and enhancement of skills of Barangay Disaster Risk Committee. It is important that the community are also aware of the hazards and risk of living near a body of water similar to coastal settlements. This project will help develop and engage preparedness and adaptation strategies for the vulnerable sectors during flooding, especially low-lying settlers along riverbanks, through a collaborative effort in providing services, training, and disaster preparedness modules and programs. The upgraded flood hazard map will be a major reference for the planning process involving the community for them to better understand the possibility, frequency, and severity of flooding in their area. Next is adaptation. This phase will introduce flooding mitigation and adaptation technologies to the vulnerable community, such as structural and non-structural measures or designs. Considering that the community along the riverbanks have already engaged in classic adaptation measures, the goal of the project is to strengthen the capacity of community in disaster preparedness and, most importantly, to provide climate change adaptation strategies for the local leaders and developers which can be integrated into policymaking. Mitigation and adaptation strategies can be in two different approaches: keeping the water away from houses, that's the structural, and keeping the houses away from the water, non-structural. Other technologies that can be developed are flood control projects and implementation of early warning systems. And lastly, it is important to incorporate in land use plans climate resilient infrastructure development, since the CLUP of LGU Malay covers only CY 2013 to 2022. It is high time to mainstream climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction and integration of planning for critical resources, as stated in the Comprehensive Land Use Plan Guidebook 2013, developed by the HLURB. Local land use and resource allocation and management and policy making should adapt to major environmental shifts in the locality, such as fluvial flooding in certain areas. The CLUP guidebook also adopted the Ridge to Reef or Integrated Watershed Ecosystems Management Framework to emphasize the interrelationship between the upland, lowland, and coastal ecosystems, which the updated CLUP of Malay can adhere to. This project aims to uplift collaborative efforts among all Malaynons to be more adaptive to the rapidly changing conditions of land and water resources, to ensure safety and enable economic activity amidst natural disasters.
With regards to financial information, we have three phases in this project proposal. The phase 1 of participatory land use management has an estimated budget of 5,000 pesos, in which 3,000 pesos goes to internet connection and 2,000 pesos for other miscellaneous. For the phase 2, we have an estimated budget of 33,500 pesos. Budget for IEC materials is 1,500. 25,000 pesos for the honorarium for resource person, 2,500 for the transportation, 2,500 for snacks, and 2,000 pesos for miscellaneous. Lastly, phase 3 has an estimated budget of 224,500, which 170,000 goes to flood control technology, 50,000 for the early warning system, 2,500 for transportation, and 2,000 pesos for other miscellaneous. This project proposal has a total estimated budget of 263,000 pesos.
Conclusion. A participatory land use management along the riverbanks in Malay Aklan will provide the local leaders and policymakers a framework where communities can be capacitated in adaptation and mitigation strategies to combat flood risk. Future plans for the cityhood of Malay Aklan should develop a climate-sensitive and disaster-resilient land use planning. This will help secure the community's capability to adapt to unprecedented natural disasters. Flood risk is dynamic, and human settlements in floodplain areas make disaster risk reduction more difficult. But a well-prepared community will have no major problem in adapting to flood risk. Hence, disaster preparedness for Malay as a whole will elevate its capability in climate change adaptation.
Done na po.
Thank you so much. Next, please. We would like to remind also the audience that the Master in Management major in Environmental Planning Management, they had 6 units of their seminar paper. So it's 1 semester. That's the reason why we give them much more time in terms of their output presentation. So apologies. And I think they have presented a very good concept of their paper. They don't have project management, seminar 1, seminar 2. No, it's only one course that is 6 units, no, for this particular topic, no, on as their paper for non-thesis program. And I think Dr. Yoj here is in charge of this program for MM Collab Group, and I thank him for his generosity also, no, to guide our students for our PRC, no, licensure for environmental planner license. Dr. Yoj, next please to present.
Yes, sir. Can I share screen, sir? I will be the one to play the video presentation of
Go ahead.
the second. Thank you, sir.
There is a time allotted for all of us to share our comments, queries on the presentation. So that will be when the first set of presenters this morning able to present all their outputs. So please jot down notes or take down notes, no, later on for our open conversation. Thank you.
We are the students of Masters in Master's in Management, major in Environmental Planning. I am Carmelita Marquez, local disaster risk reduction manager.
Please present in full slide, please. Are we supposed to hear discussion from the presenter?
Controllable massive fish feeding that make fish.
Again, Sir Doc Matt. Hello. Can we proceed?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Kill is inevitable. No strict implementation of.
We can't see the presentation. Our
Debris from flow from river channels.
Dr. Yodge, are you sharing your screen?
The municipality of Uti, province of Camarines Sur,
sir,
must be
are you
decisive
sharing
in
your
addressing
screen?
the socio-economic balance of.
Sir?
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes, sir.
We can see the screen po, the presentation.
Wait. Is this seen now, sir?
Go ahead,
Am I
please.
Okay, I'll just
Issues of Buhilay, Philippines.
Yes, sir.
So this is our proposal project, sir.
Next slide na kayo, sir.
This study aims to address the prevailing issues of Buhilay, Philippines. The reforms were premised on the lack of sustainable effort for the all government agencies involved. Fish kill occurrences average 3 times per a year due to uncontrolled fish feeding, non-sustainable usage of the lake to establish a sanctuary area, deteriorating water quality due to uncontrollable massive fish feeding that make fish kill is inevitable, no strict implementation of watershed ordinances, and frequent flooding, even during 2 to 3 days heavy rainfall, due to lake siltation caused by debris flow from river channels. Over these issues, the municipality of Buhi, province of Camarines Sur, must be decisive in addressing the socio-economic balance of the lake, precisely addressing the root causes rather than the effects of the problem through the following effort. Executive summary number 1, reassessment of Lake Buhi ecosystem and biodiversity after several fish kill phenomenon and flooding to consider desilting of the lake or dismantle all structures, fish cages, fish coral, and fish pens, and leave it free for 3 to 5 years to heal it in natural way or precipitation. Number 2, inventory of fish cage operators and fish cages installed, utilizing the 10% of the lake area to include the revenue generation. Number 3, review the municipal ordinance on comprehensive municipal fish sustainable management and development. Number 4, continue stakeholders coordination and advocacy and include alternative livelihood for the affected investor or stakeholders. Number 5, involvement of the national government agencies like DBM, DENR, DOST, DA, BIFAR, DILG, and OCBT, and academe also. Private and public schools for research development can be tapped for continued support for budget, manpower, and equipment. Project background. Lake Buhi is the town of Buhi, Camarines Sur, that lies in a small valley surrounded by mountains and mountain ranges. It is bound on the east by Mount Malinaw, 5,538 feet, and to the west is Mount Asub or Mount Iriga, 4,085.52 feet. Dominating the Buhi surface terrain, 18,378 hectares of land are declared watershed area by Proclamation 573 and Executive Order 224. The lake has an area of 1,800 hectares with an average depth of 18 meters. So that's the actual picture of the lake. The Lake Buhi system and its watershed has a multi-use character. So the Lake Buhi is 180 hectares and the watershed is 17,000 hectares. The lake is water for irrigation, water for electricity, water for fisheries, water for navigation, water for ecotourism, hosts the world's smallest edible fish, the sinarapan, or the Mishitai Luzenensis Smith, and 60% of municipality's population and majority, it makes ecological and economic significance to communities. So the multiple resource flows. Ito na ba yung sa'yo, ma'am?
Sa'yo pa, sir.
Ah? Okay. And the habitat of the world's smallest commercial fish, or Luzenensis, 45,000 and then on fisheries, fish and pests, and water for hydropower for the Luzon power grid, and irrigation water for more than 12,000 hectares of rice lands. Total land area po. And kanina ba ito, ma'am?
Sa akin na to, sir. These are the solutions and approach. So we will start with the solution. So reassessment of Lake Buhi ecosystem and biodiversity after several fish kill phenomenon and flooding to consider the silting of the lake or dismantle all structures, fish cages, fish coral, and fish pens. Leave it for 3 to 5 years to heal it in natural way or precipitation. Then the second is inventory of fish cage operators and fish cages installed utilizing the 10% of the lake area to include revenue generation. And then the third is review the municipal ordinance on comprehensive municipal fishery conservation and sustainable management and development. And the fourth is continuous stakeholders coordination and advocacy and include alternative livelihood program for the affected investors or stakeholders. And lastly is involvement of the national government agencies. Ito ang pinaka-importante. Ano po? So meron talagang intervention ng national government para talagang magpursige ang lahat. Ano po? And the academe, the private and public sectors, ano po, can be tapped for continued support for budget, manpower, and equipment. Next slide po, Sir Philip. So these are the approaches that we have gathered. Ano po? So we will start with the goals, and then next is the strategy or the output. Next is the activity or the target. And then the resource requirement, this will be tackled on the financial requirements by Ma'am Carmelita. Ano po? So I will start with the goals. Ano po? So first is the protection and conservation of watershed. So what are the strategies? Is strict implementation of watershed ordinance, reorganize local watershed committee, desilting of waterways, and dredging of Lake Buhi. So ano po yung mga activities natin dyan? So revisit watershed ordinance and implement religiously the salient features of the ordinance. Second is reestablish forest guards, mapping, sustaining desilting of waterways, and then reestablishment of plant nurseries, tree planting activities, and monitoring and evaluation. And then the second goals, constant dialogue with the stakeholders regarding Lake Buhi water utilization. So our strategy is review of related laws and ordinance regarding the utilization of the Lake Buhi waters. And then yung activity natin is constant dialogue between the stakeholders, craft and establish contingency plan. Third is sustain dialogue between stakeholders to strengthen relationship with them. And then monitor and evaluation. And then the third goals, we have the provision of technical skills, development, and alternative livelihood program in various agricultural services. So ito na po yung mga physical intervention na kailangan. Ano po. So what are the strategy, proposal for budget allocation for the program, and then the fund sourcing. And then the activities involved is provision of seed capital assistance, implement specific alternative livelihood trainings, desilting of rivers, and then construction or rehabilitation of communal irrigation canals, and then construction of flood control or riprap at Binawagan River and Iraya River, construction of flood control also or riprap. Ano po? The same area. And then we have the monitoring and evaluation. And then the fourth goals would be establishment of material recovery facility para at least yung kanilang mga basura maging maayos. Yung strategy natin dyan is proposal for budget allocation for the program and fund sourcing. And then the activity would be implement establishment of MRF and monitoring and evaluation. And lastly, the last goals would be rehabilitation and establishment or maintenance of tourist sites. So what are the strategy? Proposal for budget allocation for the program, fund sourcing, and then the activity involved is rehabilitation of NIA control structures, rehabilitation of flood control structures, and monitoring and evaluation. So next would be discussed regarding financial requirements by Ma'am Carmelita po.
This is the financial information. Allocation for the following resource requirements. Number 1, protection and conservation of watershed. Letter A, revisit watershed ordinance and implement religiously the salient features of the ordinance. It's 60,000 pesos. Letter B, reestablishment and hiring of forest guards, logistics, 840,000. Then mapping and updating with GIS maps, 120,000. Same. Series, 444,000. F, tree planting activities, 150,000. And G, monitoring and evaluation, 1,432,000. Next po. Number 2, constant dialogue with stakeholders regarding Lake Buhi water utility, 8,000, laptop, 60,000, MRF, 18 million, with a 10% area for aquaculture or commercial fishing and controlled feeding was achieved during the implementation of the Save Lake Buhi Now project, phase 1. With a period of 90 days or 90 calendar days, the periodic water sampling conducted by BFAR to secure baseline data for research and information dissemination. Multi-agencies who were involved in the implementation also pledged and supported the plan on dismantling of fish cages, reestablishing the fish sanctuary and navigational lanes, tree planting activities, cleanup drive of lake from water highest purity. Next. There's no such thing as natural disaster because all disasters are caused by human error. All disasters are man-made. They are never natural. It is the people's poor understanding on how to address hazards and failure to use appropriate science and technology, as well as hazard mitigation plans that create disasters. That's according to Disaster Management and the Marikina Watershed, the Philippines, for November 30, 2020. And the local government unit, being the major player, will be the key to properly implement this project. To achieve Lake Buhi and saving the last drop of water, all stakeholders must brace hand in hand for sustainability, water security, and environmental integrity. Achieve a balanced socioeconomic condition of the community in the long-term commitment that will hold its values and culture of giving back to the nature, its importance, and the well-being of future generations. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, this is the Lake Buhi state of the environment, the biodiversity map. Next is the policy landscape and governance mandate. Lake Buhi watershed. This is the Lake Buhi watershed. Proclamation number 573, parcel 10, declares Barit River Lake Buhi as forest reserve, also known as the Buhi Barit Watershed Reservation, with 18,739 hectares. Coverage is municipality of Buhi and Sangay and Iriga City. This is another administrative order number 2013-16 designates Lake Buhi Watershed, the 15,511 hectares, as a water quality management area. So, sustainability issue, lack of coordination among agencies tasked to manage the lake and the watershed who is in charge. There is fragmentation of the institution, no unified decision. Another sustainability issue, limited only water allocation system. Whenever they need it, improve environmental management of the lake and watershed and sustain water use of all sectors, especially in upland. So this is the watershed approach, the position for the efficiency dominated water policy. With a local planning, we have the biophysical framework, primary planning unit, natural and human interaction, and then legal mandate and sound institution and the legal institutional framework, the power and accountability. Next is the pictures of Buhi at the back sila. Ibig sabihin, yung Agnes Rola, yan si unamit ko ng mga staff.
Okay, Dr. Matt, that ends the presentation of the second group for the Master in Management, Major in Environmental Planning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yodge. Thank you so much to our candidates for graduation, our Master in Management, Major in Environmental Planning. Next, we shall have the presentation for the Master in Business Administration, may I call on Dr. Ronaldo Poblete to introduce the topics and the presenters. Go ahead, Dr.
Okay, good morning, Doc Matt. It's an honor for me to present to you the 11 students that will present their paper and as a graduating student for this batches. Okay, the first one is Mr. Bernie E. Afable. His paper is entitled The Sustainability of Government Procurement Reform Act, or RA 9184. In the Philippine Army, basis for crafting a business strategic plan. Okay, Mr. Elimar.
Yes, po, Doc. I'll play for Mr. Afable presentation right now.
Doc Bobs, are you presenting something?
Okay. Okay, si Mr. Elimar po ang magpe-present ng paper ng buong batches po.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Elimar.
Ariel, please make Alimar as the co-host to present.
Sorry, Doc, I don't have that function. Sa inyo ata yung host, Doc.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Alimar.
Okay, Doc Matt, noted po. Thank you.
Yes, please. Should there be someone talking? And
wait, Doc, inaayos pa lang.
We would like also to make mention that next to our Master in Business and Administration presentation, it will be followed by the Major in Educational Management. And next to that would be the Public Administration group.
Hello, everyone. Doc Matt, nakikita niyo na po yung presentation?
Yes po.
All right, thank you po.
Click on that. What we can see right now is the list of presentations from your drive. So are you presenting one?
Okay na po, Doc Matt.
Not yet.
Wala pa, wala pa.
Hello, everyone.
No presentation yet.
Okay po, Doc. Hold on na po.
While we are waiting for the Master in Business Administration, okay, go ahead.
Pedro Bernie Pablo, and for my project proposal, the Sustainability of Government Procurement Reform Act, RA 9184, the Philippine Army, basis for crafting a business incentive plan.
Sounds, please.
Accountability and Doc Matt, naka-full vol na po siya, Doc Matt.
We can't hear anything.
Legal and institutional framework, clear and standardized procurement procedures and standard tender documents, independent control system, proficient procurement staff, and anti-corruption measures. The overall aim of this research is to gain insight into the implementation of sustainable public procurement in the Philippine Army, 1 year before its scheduled full implementation nationwide. How well is the Philippine Army currently faring in terms of its plan to transition to sustainable public procurement? For my research question, are procurement officers or personnel familiar with the policies? What are the organizational initiatives that the organization practices to help transition to green procurement? And to what extent does the Philippine Army come together with suppliers as it transitions to green procurement? The following are the government procurement practices. According to Sweden 2004, government procurement contributes significantly to the sustainability of the economy and the environment, as it is the biggest partisan of a country. As a result, the government can influence demand for environmentally friendly products while also encouraging businesses to engage in environmentally friendly activities. The requirement to practice sustainable procurement is in the early stages. Concept of sustainable public procurement. According to Sadikin 2008, public procurement can be called sustainable when the entity uses its buying power to integrate sustainable aspects in the procure of goods, services, or construction, by taking into consideration the aspects such as economic consideration, best value for money or best value for money taxpayers, environment consideration, the minimum impact to the environment that the products or services or constructions have over its full life cycle. Social equity consideration, poverty eradication, gender equity, international equity in the distribution of resources or labor conditions, human rights, traditional community rights, and minority. Sustainable government procurement implementation in the Philippines. The legal base for the public procurement in the Philippines is the Government Procurement Reform Act, the Public Act RA 9184 or GPRA 2000, entitled as an act providing the modernization, standardization, and regulation of the procurement activities of the government and for other purposes. The GPRA has standardized the procurement process to the possible extent. Generic procurement manuals and standard Philippine public bidding documents have been issued for the mandatory use by all government procuring entities. The Government Procurement Policy Board oversees the implementation of the Public Procurement Reform Agenda. It was established by virtue of Section 63, the PPB Organization and Functions of RA 9184 as an independent interagency body that is impartial, transparent, and effective with private sector representatives. The first approach toward the green public procurement was made by the Presidential Executive Order number 301 series of 2004, which ordered the establishment of a green procurement program in all government agencies. However, the idea was not pursued systematically. The then ongoing overall reform process of public procurement leading to the GPRA in 2003. It is widely prohibited in bidding documents to use brand names. Eco levels were viewed as similar to brand names as it also limits competition. Unfortunately, eco levels were set as the core mechanism of the green public procurement according to the Executive Order 301 series of 2004. Almost a decade later, the idea of green public procurement was taken up again by the Government Procurement Policy Board, which issued the Resolution number 15 series of 2013, approval to support the implementation of sustainable and or green public procurement regime in the government. Whereas public procurement is considered a major vector in social progress, environmental protection, and innovation. Sustainable Development Framework. The research model adopted in the study includes sustainable public procurement as a dependent variable and three independent variables, namely familiarity with policies, organizational initiatives, and supplier availability. Familiarity with the policies is the main key indicator that led to the successful implementation of green procurement practices. Alhola of 2008 and Jiang and Xiang in 2010 found that familiarity with the policies, laws, and regulations that are related to procurement influence implementation of green procurement practices in the organization. For organizational initiatives, organization plays a significant role towards the GGP practices and can establish, promote, and continuously improve environmental management, such as environmental management system, which help to monitor the procurement process. For suppliers availability, supplier performance in environmental and social aspects influences purchasing decisions of organizations that practices GGP. And availability of the supplier is one the challenge towards the GGP practices. Suppliers should have knowledge about providing products or and services with environmental and social concerns. For the research design, respondents who will be invited to participate in the study are members of the Philippine Army who are involved in the procurement for the organization. So long as the individual is working in the Philippine Army and is involved in the procurement, he or she will be invited. For the data collection, a census will be conducted among all members of the Philippine Army who are involved in procurement. Two follow-ups 1 week apart will be made by the researcher for invitees who will not be able to answer the questions. If an invited individual will not be able to answer questionnaire after 2 follow-ups, the individual will be classified as non-responsive. For the statistical treatment, with the descriptive nature of the study, we can proceed with getting frequency tables, and descriptive statistics on the person to see how respondents answer the questionnaire at face value. That's all for my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, our next presenter is Mr. Alimar Albetito. His paper is entitled The Current Health Status of Filipino and Intentions to Purchase Life Insurance During the COVID-19 Pandemic, an Assessment. Okay, Mr. Alimar.
Okay, I will share my presentation. Thank you. Nakikita na po daw ang presentation?
Yes po, yes.
Sounds, please.
Walang sounds, Mr. Alimar.
Good day, everyone. My name is Alimar Betito. And today I'll be presenting to all of you my research proposal entitled Current Health Status of Filipinos and Intention to Purchase Life Insurance During the COVID-19 Pandemic, an Assessment. In this presentation, I have 4 parts. Part 1 is life insurance and its importance. Part 2, why conduct studies on life insurance. Part 3, interesting observation. Part 4 is the present research and design. Personal insurance is a mechanism to absorb financial strain imposed by adversity, premature death, terminal illness, disability, or total incapacity by transferring losses of an individual to the insurance company. So personal insurance and its importance. Life insurance provides a payment to a beneficiary when the insured individual dies. Total permanent disability is a lump sum payment to the insured when an individual is permanently disabled or has cognitive inadequacies. Critical illness cover or trauma cover is paid to the insured when the individual is diagnosed with a traumatic medical condition such as cancer, stroke, heart attack, etc. Income protection is paid to the insured when the individual is unable to work due to illness or disability. Personal insurance provides financial resources to support the claimant and their dependents. However, this will not alleviate the physical or emotional impact of the event, while at least the economic aspect of the situation may be lessened. So why personal insurance? So here are the reasons for conducting studies in life insurance. 1, most people have poor knowledge of personal insurance, while many are unaware of the implication and the value of personal insurance. 2, most individuals feel that life insurance is too expensive, difficult to comprehend, and difficult to get. As a result, they prefer general insurance to personal insurance. 3, there is a scarcity of research regarding personal insurance in the Philippines. So here are the interesting observations. Unprecedented changes due to COVID-19 pandemic. According to CM&DR Philippines 2021, describe that more Filipinos are now interested in insurance, retirement planning a year into a pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic changes the needs of Filipinos People acknowledge they don't have sufficient retirement plans and find long-term planning products allow them to be flexible in mapping out their lives ahead. So according to Dragota et al., individuals who consider protection as the most important characteristic of life insurance show a greater probability to buy such products. So current health status. Health encompasses more than the absence of diseases. It includes social, psychological, and economic well-being. Current health status can potentially lead to consumer intention to buy life insurance. Good health denotes acceptance and happiness with life, whereas poor health denotes a low quality of life or discontent with life. Current health status are viewed into two. One, objective health status or OHS, and number two is subjective health status or SHS. Objective health status reflects diagnosis from physician or medical practitioner, whether healthy or with current disease. The subjective health status is measured through self-report. Some empirical studies identify health risk is an important factor in precautionary participation in the financial market. It is expected that the impact of current health status increase attention to purchase life insurance. The present research study and the design. Assess the perception of Filipinos on the two health status indicators, objective health status and subjective health status, insurance literacy and intention to purchase life insurance. The study will also investigate the relationship of objective health status and subjective health status to intention to purchase life insurance. The important contribution of this paper are as follows. I believe this is the first paper in the Philippines to examine the relationship of OHS or objective health status and SHS or subjective health status to intention to purchase life insurance. This paper examines people's opinion regarding personal insurance. This research will contribute to the body of knowledge. The empirical results may provide implication for insurance literacy among consumers and marketing strategy for life insurance. So here are the research objectives. This study specifically aims to determine the level of objective health status and subjective health status, determine the level of insurance literacy, determine the level of intention to purchase insurance, find out the relationship between objective health status, subjective health status to intention to purchase insurance, and establish relationship between insurance literacy and intention to purchase insurance. So the hypothesis, the objective health status and subjective health status is correlated with intention to purchase life insurance products, and insurance literacy is correlated with intention to purchase life insurance products. So the research design, the descriptive correlational design will be utilized in the study. The descriptive correlational study describes the relationships that occur naturally between the variables. So the participants in sampling, the 100 respondents from the business process outsourcing or BPO industry at Metro Manila, aged 20 to 40 years old, will be chosen purposely for the study. The purposive sampling technique will be utilized in the study. It is a non-probability technique which relies on the judgment of the research in selecting the respondents that are to be studied. The inclusion criteria are the following. Young professionals working in BPO company for at least 1 year. The exclusion are the following. Working outside Metro Manila, no existing personal insurance. The research instrument. A survey questionnaire will be used to obtain participants' demographic information such as gender, marital status, income, job position, and years of service and health status. The modified 4-item subjective scale adopted from Works 1 et al. 2006 with contact alpha 0.87 will be used to assess respondents' subjective notes using a scale of 0 to 100. The higher score indicates worst health condition. The respondents will take 2 minutes to answer the scale. The 4-item intention to purchase insurance is adopted from Willie et al. 2019 with contact alpha 0.86 will be used to assess respondents' intention to purchase insurance rated using a 5-point scale from 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. The higher score indicates intention to buy insurance. The respondents will take 2 minutes to answer the scale. The 12-item consumer insurance literacy is adopted from Willie et al. 2019 with contact alpha 0.89 will be used to assess respondents' insurance literacy rated using a 5-point Likert scale from 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. The higher score indicates their knowledge about insurance. The respondents will take 5 minutes to accomplish the scale. The data gathering procedure. 1. Recruitment of the participants will be conducted through online survey questionnaires through the help of human resource personnel of different companies. Number 2, consenting respondents will receive the online survey questionnaires. Number 3, before the administration of the survey, there is an orientation of the purpose of the study. The participants will be informed that they can participate or withdraw from the study anytime. They will not receive any monetary for joining. There are no right or wrong answers. All items need to be answered. They can take their time while completing the questionnaire. Identifiers of the participants will not be obtained to ensure confidentiality and comply with Data Privacy Act. So data analysis. For profile of the respondents will be used frequency and percentage. For assessment of SHS for subjective health status will be used mean and standard deviation. For the assessment of insurance literacy, that would be mean and standard deviation. For the assessment of intention to purchase insurance, that would be mean and standard deviation. For the relationship between OHS and SHS to intention to purchase insurance will be used person-R correlation and chi-square. And for the relationship between insurance literacy and intention to purchase insurance will be used person-R correlation. So that's all of my presentation. Thank you very much, and please stay safe at all times.
Our next presenter is Ms. Shaula Castor. Her paper is entitled The Effectiveness of Strategic Planning and Its Impact on Organizational Performance. Okay, Mr. Alimar.
Okay, for the copy po.
Everyone. I'm Shauna Martinez Castor, a certified public accountant, and my proposed title, The Effectiveness of Strategic Planning and Its Impact on Organizational Performance. Formulating, implementing, and evaluating a strategic plan has undeniably become a major activity in both for-profit and non-profit organizations. A corporate body defines strategic plans relating to the organization's performance on all fronts of operations must be determined to measure its level of success or failure. For the purpose of the study, the strategic planning is based on the idea that current activities can have an impact on the future of an organization. The purpose is to evaluate the effectiveness of strategic planning in organizational performance. For the objective of the study is to evaluate the effectiveness of strategic planning on the organization's performance from different companies in Metro Manila. For the specific objectives, it's to determine the effect of strategic planning on the performance of an organization and ascertain the relationship between strategic planning and the achievement of organizational goals. The idea of strategic planning. The strategic planning practices have 4 dimensions, namely formality, use of strategic planning tools and techniques, management participation, and employee participation. A formalized strategic plan plays the role of a reference point in which the strategic planners can refer to when crafting and implementing the strategic plan, creating a platform that ensures resolution of any disagreements pertaining strategic planning and implementation. The use of the strategic planning tools and techniques in the second dimension of strategic planning, according to Giga and Balin 2012, observed that the use of tools and techniques assists in increasing the effectiveness and efficiency of planning, resulting in superior organizational performance. Organizational performance. Organizational performance is described as an organization's ability to acquire and utilize its current resources and valuables as expeditiously as possible in the pursuit of its operations goals. An organization's focus should be on continuous performance because only through performance can an organization grow and progress. Strategic planning and organizational performance. George et al. 2019 analyzed the inconsistency between the popularity of strategic planning and its critics by studying the relationship between strategic planning and organizational performance. According to studies, participatory strategic planning is less important for improving organizational performance due to the involvement of a variety of stakeholders in the strategic planning process, make the process more complex. An non-participatory strategic planning process is nearly impossible to imagine. This is the conceptual framework, the strategic planning process that includes mission and objectives, environmental scan, strategy formulation, strategy implementation, evaluation and control, and its result to organizational performance. For the research design, respondents who will be invited to participate in the study are employees working in the top big 100 companies in Metro Manila. These employees must be working as either managers or executives and are involved in setting compliance targets or key performance indicators or KPI as part of measuring the organization's performance. Sampling method and sample size. The minimum sample size needed for this study is 73 respondents. This sample size was computed using Cochrane's formula for sample size determination with the proportion of population possessing our characteristics of interest, that is, employees who are either managers or executives. It is estimated at 5% based on the 2018 integrated survey on labor and employment by the Philippine Statistics Authority. In addition, the computations also assumes that the acceptable margin of error is 5% and the level of significance is that of 5%. Purposive sampling will be used in inviting respondents to be part of this research. For the data collection, the researcher will be reaching out to a network of connections who will be screened to see if they qualify to be part of the study. A respondent who has agreed to participate in the study will be sent a link on an online survey form created using Google Forms. All personal information will not be included in the final data set. A 5-point Likert scale will be used in the questionnaire, which includes the following sections: respondent profile, mission, vision, organizational objectives, goals, and value statements, environmental scanning, internal and external, designing strategic planning, implementation of the plan, monitoring and evaluation, strategic plan, and organizational performance. For the ethical consideration, participants will be informed of the purpose of the study and consent obtained prior to data collection. Data obtained from respondents will be confidential. As part of the confidentiality, respondents will not be expected to indicate their names on the questionnaire. For data analysis, correlation analysis using person-product moment correlation coefficient will be used to examine the relationship of effective strategic planning and organizational performance. That's all for my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, our next presenter is Mr. Chester F. Ebersole. His paper is entitled Job Satisfactions on Organizational Commitment of Employees Working on Selected Small and Medium Enterprise in San Jose, Occidental Mindoro. Okay, Mr. Alamar.
So, good evening, guys. So I'm going to present my project study. So in today's modern world, business gets fiercer and more competitive. And therefore, it is crucial for every organization to invest to their best weapon. So those best weapon is their employees. And as we all know, if employees are motivated, positive, and satisfied, they're able to do better performance, driven to do work, and even collaborate with other employees in achieving the company's goal. So, as Steve Jobs said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it, keep looking for it, don't settle. That's why in looking for work, there should be a job satisfaction because it will bounce back, better productivity will occur because if the employees love the company and it shares the idea of that organization, they will not allow to the company to go down. And therefore, a satisfied one leads to a commitment, which is a job well done. And therefore, the study is about the impact of job satisfaction on organizational commitment of employees working on selected small and medium enterprises in San Jose Occidental, Mindoro. So, what is job satisfaction? So, job satisfaction measures the contentness of workers in their jobs, whether it is individual facet or an institutional factor. So, what is naman organizational commitment? So, it is a degree which an employee feels loyal to a particular organization which serves as a psychological link between consistency and interest. So, we need to take note, employees are vital resource in the company. Therefore, the management gives employees a significant investment, and therefore, we should cater, nurture, and cherish them. So, what are the other factors involved in those employees? So, locating, recruiting, training, salary, benefits. So all of those are involved in the employees. So we can really say that employees are a big investment for every institution. So for the conceptual framework of the study, it is based on the impact of job satisfaction on organizational commitment by Tatar. So here we can say that the job satisfaction is the independent variable and your organizational commitment is the dependent variable on this framework. As you can see, your job satisfaction is subdivided into different routes. Satisfaction with work, pay and incentives, opportunities for career development, leadership and supervision, work groups and relations, and work conditions. So again, this is our what? This is our independent variable. So the process would include administration of questionnaire, statistical treatment of data, and interpretation of data. So the output would be what is the organizational commitment. So that would be our dependent variable. So this would be done through survey. So what is the rationale of the study? Why do we need to conduct this? So knowing the factors that affect job satisfaction will make employee work with utmost agility and motivation. He will make sure to complete his work well on time, as well as maintaining a good quality of his her life. So this will lead productivity levels increase, helping the firm to accomplish its aims and objectives at a much faster rate and time, and it will also help the employee to expand his horizon and to elevate his career through sharing new ideas and innovation. So it will help business to retain employees that do quality work. Because remember, quality is better than quantity, and are talented and experts in their work. It will also spread positive word by mouth because we know that the competition is interconnected to people and having a good environment to start for a better company. So, identifying the impact of job satisfaction on organizational commitment on selected small and medium enterprises and its relationship on employees' performance and productivity is the reason why this research will be done. So what are the different objectives of the study? So the research aims to answer the following objectives. So to identify the impact between job satisfaction to organizational commitment and to provide recommendations to develop the commitment of employees on their respective small or medium enterprises, to analyze and evaluate organizational commitment among employees on selected small and medium enterprises in San Jose Occidental, Mindoro, and to identify the job satisfaction factors that affect the organizational commitment among employees of selected small and medium enterprises. So methodology. So what are the methods to be done? So the research approach and design is a deductive approach where it will be based on data gathered. So it is collected to respondent and we use a numerical type of data. So we have two variables, job satisfaction and organizational commitment. So it is a descriptive research in which exploratory is used to identify the relationship between the two variables, which is the independent, which is the job satisfaction, and we have the dependent, which is the organizational commitment. So our target respondents and local. So the research aims to identify job satisfaction towards organizational commitment through numerical data. So questionnaire would be used to answer the research objectives. The respondents will be invited to participate are employees who are working in small and medium enterprises in San Jose Occidental, Mindoro. So what would be the sampling method and size? So it would be a purposive sampling in which data will be collected from selected employees who are working in small or medium enterprises. So it is considered because based on DTI, small enterprises are only 10%, whereas medium enterprises in the Philippines are also 0.49%. So it's very low, which means majority are micro enterprises. So San Jose is a small town, and getting a specific field of enterprise would result in low respondents. So we are a province
That's why most of you are micro. So I opted as a researcher to small and medium enterprises because I think it's much easier to get higher number of employees working in a particular enterprise if it's small or medium rather than micro enterprise. Because usually that's only 1 man, 2 man, and in family. So much more bias, I think. So anyway, so towns that include Rizal, Magsaysay, Calintaan, and Sablayan. So these are nearby towns in the San Jose. So they will not be included because the rate plus the salary. So San Jose is a first class municipality. So the others have different ideas, tendencies, what they do, etc. So the number of employees would be estimated based on the number of employees in San Jose taken from BDI multiplied by the percentage of small and medium enterprises because there are no available studies. So the margin of error would be there and the confidence level of 95%. So RAWSOF would be used. So the questionnaire will be subdivided into 3. We have demographical data, the factors that affect job satisfaction, and the factors that affect the organization commitment. So it is a quantitative question through Likert scale, in which 1 to 5, where 5 is strongly agree, whereas 1 is strongly disagree. So this is an example of the researcher's questionnaire. So the first part would be demographic profile. So the job satisfaction. So we have the B2, pay and incentives, and 3, growth, progress, and career advancement. Then there is a clear, this is the third one, which is the factors affecting organizational commitment. So we have 3 parts in that questionnaire. So to ensure that the test is reliable, we will use front back alpha. So it is done to ensure the reliability of the instrument, which is the questionnaire. So it is applicable if we use Likert scale. And for statistical treatment, so the demographic data, so the first part of the questionnaire will be presented through frequency table and pie chart, in which the Kolmogorov-Smirnov z-test will be used to check if data are distributed or not. And Pearson correlation would be used on job satisfaction and organizational commitment. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, our next presenter is Ms. Jessamine S. Gesun. Her paper is entitled Measuring Consumer Level Satisfaction for Online Food Delivery Services During COVID-19 in City of Manila. Yes, Mr. Elmar.
Everyone, my name is Jasmine Gesun. I'm MBA student and I will be presenting my subject study entitled Measuring Consumer Level Satisfaction for Online Food Delivery Service during COVID-19 in City of Manila. For the introduction, nowadays, most of the people are dealing with some changes in lifestyle, hoping to a new normal life in this times of pandemic. Accepting the use of modern technology with internet has an impact when it comes to marketing business and has provided companies to expand their business using e-commerce. These modern technologies offer the consumer to have an additional way on how they can buy or purchase things they want and need, most especially the food. It is one of the most common products for the mankind because food is life, and so are with great impact for humans' online shopping life. Furthermore, the rising use of internet makes it available and accessible to every people who use to purchase things or food. In addition, online food delivery becomes widely used instead of the traditional way of buying and going to market, groceries, before. Online food delivery provides opportunities to consumers for them to lessen their time, going to a store and avoid getting infected by COVID-19. For the theoretical framework, this study was authored by the study of Zakaria Saleh, Asmina, Mamat, and Shamsuddin in 2020 about online customer satisfaction towards food panda services and Selamore during pandemic. As stated on their study, online food delivery service has an impact in terms of security perception, customer service, product information quality, and purchasing process convenience. It signifies that all the variables are very important during the pandemic. For the research objective, the study on measuring consumer level satisfaction for online food delivery service during COVID-19 and City of Manila can be a learning paradigm to identify the effect of security perception, customer service, product information quality, and purchasing process convenience in study and determine the effects of pandemic towards online food shopping. This study will be beneficial for online food delivery companies because they will know the level of customer satisfaction towards their delivery services during pandemic. This study will serve as the best reference for online food delivery companies to improve their services every day. This study will help consumers to have more knowledge about online food delivery services during pandemic. And this study will also help online food delivery service companies understand more about customers' needs and wants during pandemic. And this will also help online food delivery service companies to have a better understanding about customer satisfaction towards food delivery services during pandemic. Security issue as one of the customer concerns has been cited in online purchasing studies. According to Flavian et al. 2006, Chang and Chen 2008, David and Abadi in 2009. Security perception is defined as the degree to which person believes that the online vendor or website is secure. It is a considerable issue for transferring important information like credit card details, according to Scott Berry 2001. Customer service can be defined as providing prompt responses to inquiries and help in solving problems by willing personnel. Chang and Chen 2009. Product information quality is a complete, up-to-date, and easy to understand about the product in online websites, according to Malikinos and Flordoridis 2010. Customer satisfaction can be identified as a person's feeling of pleasure or disappointment, which occurs because of comparison between products or services. The research design is expected caution. The respondents, 160 respondents from the City of Manila will participate. For sampling, convenient number mobility sampling technique will be used. Survey questionnaires will be distributed to the respondents. And for the statistical tools, MOBA, frequency, percentage, and determining will be used. For the reliability and the decision of high reliability excellence, you would conduct outer report 0.968 with the decision of high reliability excellence, and for the processing convenience, we conduct outer report 0.966 with the decision of high reliability excellence, and for the overall conduct outcome report 0.969 with high reliability excellence. Project study. These are the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and God bless us all.
Okay, our next presenter is Mr. Derek Jan and M. Lim. His paper is entitled The Effect of COVID-19 on Flight Training, Basis for Crafting a New Policy of Conducting Training in the Philippines. Okay, Mr. Elmar.
Good day, everyone. One of the hardest hit due to the pandemic. Numerous policies and measures have been adopted to prevent the spread of the virus, and these restrictions have significantly reduced air travel. A lot of them, which leads to the negative impact on the pilot's capacity to preserve their knowledge and skills. So worth noting that mental health problems such as stress and depression affect students with little to no ability to fly or maintain their flight proficiency due to the decline in air travel since the pandemic started. Many pilots may be eager to fly but not necessarily proficient for this project. First is to examine the impact of the changing nature of learning due to the pandemic. Second is to assess the career challenges that aviation students are facing due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have underreaction and overreaction by different countries and organizations due to non-uniform approach, especially at the start of the pandemic. To decrease the negative impact in the aviation industry, policies and regulations have to be acted. Taking method for mathematical and numerical analysis of data through survey, different data collection techniques such as survey, observation, document review, and gathering of data from various relevant offices, site papers, and research from the internet. So the respondents were from 6 aviation schools in the Philippines. We have 2 from Northern Luzon, 2 from Central Luzon, 1 from Visayas, and 1 from Mindanao. As of the moment, or when the pandemic started. So there's some difficulties in connecting and socializing with the instructors and colleagues. This is due to the social distancing and other limitations imposed to prevent the spread of the virus. So these are the findings in terms of economic impact. Then for training, again, it's 5 questions answered by the respondents. So last of the 3 is the environmental impact of the pandemic. 5 questions answered by the students. So findings were good. Students meet financial difficulties. Students find socialization more difficult due to the restrictions. Students believe that the regulation against COVID-19 have degraded the quality of education. And enough safety regulations being implemented by schools to stop the spread of the virus. Lastly, facilities are kept safe. So these are the recommendations, not limited to the following, that could help ease the struggles of student pilots. So number 1 is in-house training, which basis. We have 7 days training, 7 days off to ensure the continuity of study. Or it can be like a program based. So for example, for the duration of the ground schooling, it's under a bubble type program. So also assess the demographics of population. High-risk areas, probably level 3 and up, should be avoided. Check insurance coverage for proper protection. And lastly, more shorter duration flights to practice procedures. So these are the recommendations, but again, not limited to the following. So these are the reference. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Okay,
Doc Pobbs, before you
yes,
proceed, I would like to remind that Mr. Ariel Domingo is sharing our exit evaluation for today's conference. So this is part 1, and then we shall have another evaluation this afternoon. So please check, because I know some of you are having some difficulty in logging in to this session. So if you are still around, so please check on the evaluation so you can join the evaluation for the issuance of our certificate. Okay, so I think Ariel is sharing that in the chat box. So just click and then submit. No? Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Pobbs.
Okay, our next presenter is Ms. Angelica Marie A. Mauricio. Her paper is entitled Examining the Effects of COVID-19 in the Life of Insurance Industry Towards Crafting a Promotional Program for Customer Retentions. Okay, Mr. Limar.
The arrival of the pandemic has took toll on people's livelihood, affecting millions of people worldwide. Access and privileges it can provide to those that subscribe for a policy. Despite the reality that life insurances for private companies can help protect one's health, his family's health, and finances, studies have revealed that the statistics of individuals running promotional programs for customer retention. Theoretical framework. This study is founded on the study of Hatun Nguyen, Huang Nguyen, Nanduk Nguyen, and Anchi Pan, 2018, titled The Determinants of Customer Satisfaction and Loyalty in the Vietnamese Life Insurance Setting. According to their study, aims to examine the effects of COVID-19 in the life insurance industry towards crafting promotional program for customer retention. It specifically seeks to identify the effects of COVID-19 to life insurance existing customer in terms of customer satisfaction and customer trust or loyalty, to determine the key factors that affects customer retention on life insurance sector during the COVID-19 pandemic. And lastly, the promotional program that can be crafted for life insurance industry in the Philippines towards customer retention. Methodology. Descriptive method will be used to scrutinize the effects of the COVID-19 in the life insurance industry. The data were treated quantitatively using a survey questionnaire with 3 parts. Part 1, profile of the respondents. Part 2, customer satisfaction. Part 3, customer trust and loyalty. The study involved 200 participants from the top 5 insurance company here in the Philippines, which were selected using purposive sampling method. Criteria being used should at least be a policyholder for 1 year at the time the study is conducted. Methodology. To treat the data properly, the researcher made use of a 4-point Likert scale. Data will be treated using weighted mean, Pearson R, and ANOVA. And all the data being gathered will be treated with utmost confidentiality under the promises of ethical standard of researchers. That's all for my project study presentation, and thank you so much.
Okay, the next presenter is Ms. Clarice Policios. Her paper is entitled Issues and Challenges Encountered in the Use of Mobile Data Among Subscribers in Agoola La Union Towards Enhancement of Mobile and Network Services. Mr. Almar.
I am Clarice Policios, and I'll be presenting my project study about the issues and challenges encountered in the use of mobile data among subscribers in Agoola Union towards enhancement of mobile network services. Defining mobile data, it is a wireless cellular connection without the need of Wi-Fi. With this, people can have internet access that align the cities, like towns and provinces that may not be considered as commercially viable. The problems related to internet connectivity was magnified because of the COVID-19 pandemic, as the demand for internet connection soared. In the current state of research in the field is that related studies have shown that there are indeed pressing problems in the Philippines' internet connection. Although much research has been done about the state of internet in the Philippines, minimum interest has been given to towns, rural areas, or relatively far communities, since telecommunication companies do not see these areas as commercially viable. This area will now be the focus of the research. How mobile network service can be improved to achieve customer satisfaction. To limit the scope of this research, it will only cover internet connectivity in terms of mobile data and excludes the use of Wi-Fi. Just a context, Wi-Fi is also a technology used to connect to the internet through a signal from a router. However, many households do not have Wi-Fi connection as it comes with higher costs than the use of mobile data. As for mobile data, internet content can be delivered to all who have cellular phones. Team selecting the participants includes students, working and non-working individuals who use a mobile phone and mobile data to access the internet, ages 16 and above. The research instrument and procedures for data gathering. First, the questionnaire will be used in collecting data. This will be administered online using MS Forms. Then the first section of the questionnaire obtains the demographic profile of the respondents. The succeeding parts of the questionnaire asks about their mobile data experience, the following dimensions: eligibility, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy, and price. This model has also been used in a related research or review on the telecommunications service quality, which have revealed critical factors that causes customers to switch service providers, which include poor service failure, high price, competition, inconvenience, service encounter failure, and influence from family, friends, and or group. As these models show, the service quality point to customer satisfaction ultimately. Okay. So the reliability and validity of the method employed in this research will be tested. The researcher will use internal consistency type of reliability assessment. Cronbach's alpha is the most used test to determine the internal consistency of an instrument. An acceptable reliability score is 0.7 and higher. On the other hand, the researcher will use a construct or theory evidence validity testing to assess whether inferences about the test results can be drawn related to the concept being studied. In the data analysis, the demographic profile will be analyzed in percentages and frequency. The results from the survey will be analyzed using descriptive statistics, which mainly involve the mean, standard deviation, and multiple regression analysis. To evaluate open-ended questions, the researcher will review the responses and will categorize them into meaningful broad categories. The results will be analyzed, interrogated, filtered, and cross-tabulated. The results will be summarized to identify insights and solutions toward enhancement of mobile network services. That would be all. Thank you.
Okay, our next presenter is Ms. Jean Tabuhara. Her paper is entitled The Effect of Work Environment on Employee Productivity of Internship Navigating Training Center. Okay, Mr. Limar.
Okay po.
For my project study, this is my presentation. The effect of work environment on employees' productivity, customers, means more revenues. Productivity is important in a workplace for any effective and successful firm. Being productive can assist the company in increasing and maximizing the capability of its human resources and getting wages. Employers are able to give successful training to seafarers. Working environments are thought to have a major detrimental industry skilled workforce. Investment into seafarers training and certification gives supply knowledge and measures to company as a maritime training provider. Statement of the problem. This study is into determining following question. First, what is the level of productivity at ISNTC when taken as an entire group? A better knowledge of importance of the workplace environment in ISNTC. To describe the factor that develop workplace environment, to develop an understanding and the importance of and to determine how efficient the employees regardless of their work environment to their job. Introducing a workplace environment as one important issue for employees' performance and productivity. The last one is, we'll visualize that the findings of this study will enable the organization to know how to address issues concerning the employees and its working environment. Pertains anything that exists around employees, where they work and has an impact on how they perform their jobs is referred to as the work environment. It is made up of both external and employee or team or department falls within that range. 8. The effect of work environment in increased productivity of ISNTC employees. Sampling is proposing sampling. The level of ISNTC employees' productivity were described as follows. Mean of responses, 4.21, much for listening.
Okay, our next presenter is Mr. Homer Kasaway. His paper is entitled The Effects of COVID-19 Pandemic on Micro-Size Enterprises Operating in Camalaniagan, Cagayan. Okay, Mr. Elmar.
I'm presenting my project study titled The Effect of COVID-19 Pandemic on Micro-Sized Enterprises Operating in Camalaniagan, Cagayan. 22,548 people with 3,577,000 suffered tremendously during the course of the pandemic. To this, businesses, especially micro-sized enterprise operators, have to deal with the excruciating effects of the services specific to those who must buy in very small quantities at affordable prices. This is both scenarios that dealt and continuously dealing despite the turmoil brought about by the pandemic. This question becomes the focal point of this research. This investigates the unfiltered situation in the downstream sector. Aside from that, so this question becomes the focal point of this research, which investigates the unfiltered situation in the downstream sector. Also, this study was grounded with the theory of business by Drucker. 2050 has experienced a great success or failure. The COVID-19 pandemic stalled completely. So, research is motivated to begin investigating the various impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on the market vendors in Camalaniagan, Cagayan. As a result of this motivate health problems for some time. For the research objectives, this study generally determines the effects of COVID-19 pandemic to the micro-sellers of the resource and the buyers of the resource. The theory defines the relationship between the price of goods of the lockdowns will be segmented in 4 dimensions, namely the income, supply, and availability of goods, demand, and prices. Achieved by the market vendors of Cagayan as 2. Income, supply, and availability of goods, demand, and prices. The existing European industry was under the scanner even before COVID-19 began. So in response to the COVID-19 problem, government offered given by central government well before the COVID-19 epidemic began. It was alleged posed by small-scale industrialists who saw the danger of competition from bigger firms that would MSMEs raises the barrier investment for the classification of micro units to 1 crore, about $133,000 in current conversion rates, and introduces the turnover requirement in general P of 5 crores, about 600 harm according to the study performed by HR Development Pact in March and April 2020. The study showed that the regulation study employing weighted survey data category comprises electricity and energy, ICT, technology, and the real estate services. Was that transportation and storage, construction, lodging, and services, and social workers were less likely to have no sales or income and less likely to implement the cutbacks. The study usage of home energy on every field and walk of life. The long-lasting impacts of this pandemic have changed the way businesses used to be conducted, and we have recently unemployed or day labor who had recently lost their source of income. So we need to extract the customer back. It can be stated that along with impacting consumers' trust in the business, this specific crisis first led to business failure, and they are rendered ineffective in the capability to provide
any services or products, holding enterprises, the potential is measured in terms of confidence level in the business, fluctuating business environment in terms of, as stated that with the reduction in both sales volume and economic difficulties and small size businesses are facing issues in the cash flow as well as demand channels, their income due to this is accomplished by having a very small but concentrated sample base to gain an in-depth and first-hand information and data among the participants involved in the study, respondents in this study. Also, an interview sheet will be provided or prepared to obtain information. A purposive sampling technique will be used to make sure the reliability of the findings of this study. And before they conduct your face-to-face interactions and your virtual meetings. After which the survey questionnaire, which determines questionnaire, the researcher conducted an interview to gather more information regarding their responses in the survey questionnaire, including from the target participants of the study. See, percentage mean and standard deviation will be utilized in determining the profile variables of the participants. On one hand, it was later refined through a systematic assessment of transcriptions and coding King 2004, and the transcription and coding were done separately by different experts in the field to identify the main themes of this study. The COVID-19 pandemic tremendously affected the micro-sized enterprises of the renewable area. These variables are as follows: the financial, income, supply and availability of goods, demands, and prices. This study will also present the first-hand perceptions of the owners of MSMEs in renewable area with regard to their future expectations. The study revealed that the MSE. So my references are follows.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Before Doc Poblete will introduce the last presenter for the business administration program, let me remind the next to present. I think we have 5, no? So we can have our break for the morning session. We please remind the master in management, management and public administration to prepare. We have Dr. Adalid to present the presenters. So go ahead, Dr. Pobbs.
Okay, thank you, Doc Matt. Our the last presenter for MBA program is Mr. Ian Miral. His paper is entitled Entrepreneurial Inclinations of Accountancy, Business and Management, Students in General Pantaleon Garcia Senior High School, Basis for a Training Program. Okay, Mr. Elmar.
Topic is entrepreneurial inclination of accountancy, business and management for ABM students in General Pantaleon Garcia Senior High School, basis for a training program. The entrepreneurial inclination of senior high school students in Imus City, Cavite school year 2020 to 2021. This school now is statistically significant and the directions for future research are also provided. A successful education system will need to be of paramount important that schools have always played a vital role in ensuring that students have the skills needed for the job or career they have chosen. The key functions of education to fully in choosing career and education pathways.
Additionally, due to the present economic and social changes our government is dealing with, which is known as K-12 Enhanced Basic Education Curriculum, and under the newly signed K-12 Basic Education Program law, senior high school will officially being implemented nationwide, starting with grade 11 in senior language, humanities, communication, mathematics, within a track. One of the tracks that will be covered and the would focus on the basic conceptual of financial management. These are numerous theories on entrepreneurship. However, each institutional economic theory on the other hand, and therefore both these theories are not relevant. Entrepreneurial to describe the profile of the respondents, assess entrepreneurial intentions to answer two. First question is determine the profile of the guide to perceived desirability, perceived feasibility, and for participants that can be utilized to support the entrepreneurial inclination of ABM students in General Pantaleon Garcia Senior High School, according to their profile. Time and place of the study and limitation. This study covers the entrepreneurial inclination of ABM students in General Pantaleon Garcia, Imus City, Cavite. Although the results will be coming from the only be limited to 138. Income can restrict the research outcome. Significance of administration in evaluating the status of teachers and their challenges in dealing with the K-12 program and its specific subject offering. Teachers in copying, in promoting entrepreneurship and inclination of accountancy and business management students. And then to guide their students to be aware of the entrepreneurial inclination of accountancy and business management students. Then parents. This new program framework. This is study unfold of the entrepreneurial event model from Shapiro and Sokot in 1975. Figure 1, theory entrepreneurial event model by Shapiro and Sokot entrepreneurial activities as resource support. This model as a considering also perceived feasibility is relating violation aspects of intention. Self-efficacy are described as important foundations for the perceptions of desirability. The key students who are the respondents is the foregoing theoretical accountancy and business management students in general context. How the study was conducted. It presented the research methodology, present qualitative research and methods to involve collecting data in order to test the descriptive survey method that I Pantaleon Garcia Senior High School. Complete enumeration and sample surveys are conducted to estimate unknown population rate of population. This is small and admits will be coming from grade 11 and 83 from
with 55 students who will be part of this research together with 138 senior high school data gathering procedure. That starts with the study on the analysis of data. After approval, the researcher will continue active. The collected questionnaire, and I also conducted a Google Meet search for correction and suggestion and entrepreneurial inclination of accountancy and business management skills and meaning are listed below. The objectivity and validity. Statistical treatment of data. To solve the problem posed on the study, the researcher will make a tenure of the teacher respondents and the business management students in the right and target procedures in high school. Key square tests will be used to test the significant difference between the assessment of grade level respondents on the entrepreneurial inclination of accountancy and business management students. And that's all, Doc and classmates. Thank you for your listening.
Okay, Doc Matt, that would be the presentations of 11 MBA students. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Doc Pops. At this juncture, may I call on Dr. Lorna Adalid for the Master in Management, major in Educational Management, and for Public Administration to introduce the topics and the presenters. Thank you. Doc Lorna.
Okay, ba't wala ako? Nagbukas na ako, sir. Binuksan ko na, sir. Ayun, nandun ako. Okay. Doc Matt and my dear colleagues and students, good afternoon. The following presenters are graduate students of Master in Management, major in Educational Management. They are going to present their project proposal. And the first one, okay, sasabihin ko muna kung sino-sino sila. You listen, class ha? Pagkasunod-sunod ninyo. First one will be Mr. Andrino Jeremiah, high school teacher from Iloilo City. Followed by Ms. Paglinawan Christine, a multi-grade teacher of San Diego Elementary School, Banguan, Batangas. And Mr. Lumanaw Jordan, a licensed professional teacher and presently teaching in Arellano University, Mabini Campus. And last but not the least, Mr. Mark Diaz, a teacher at the JHS Science School, and he is an Apple teacher. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I now present to you our first presenter, Mr. Jeremiah Andrino.
Hey everyone, today I'll be presenting my project proposal, Great Gizmo, a management information system for Ramon Avicenna National High School. By the way, I am Jeremiah S. Andrino, a student of Master in Management, major in Educational Management. Advanced technology can significantly improve academic procedures by eliminating redundant processes and improving overall cooperation among students, teachers, parents, and school employees. The Grade Gizmo will consist of tasks such as registering students, grade encoding, producing report cards, producing learners' permanent records, and producing different reports for teachers, parents, and other stakeholders. According to Hedberg, Automation utilizes technology to replace humans with a machine that can perform more quickly and more continuously. As we all know, the majority of the public schools in the Philippines do not use an automated system, and the record officers use manual methods to compile records and reports. With this project, school documents that require many big storage rooms can be stored on fewer disks if they are all computerized. It cuts down on time it takes to access a learner's permanent school records, which previously may take hours to accomplish. Let's look at the current system. The Learner Information System of the Department of Education is an online facility only that provides registration of learners enrolled in public schools. However, this system only generates a summary of reports, which includes age profiles and total enrollment. The approach does not generate learners' grades in every subject. Instead, it generates a broad-based general average the learner attains in every grade level. Permanent school records of students when they transfer school are prepared manually by the record officer and teachers. Due to the inefficiency of the current manual system, the need arises to automate the school-based processes to efficiently handle learners' records, report cards, and various reports satisfying users and other stakeholders. The Grade Gizmo hopes to implement an automated school administration system that would facilitate the different activities taking place in school. The system can cater to the need of teachers in solving and recording, storing, and retrieving learners' school records. The proposed system will change the current manual system that the teacher is using to record, store, and file students' records. The proposed system will have its security features and will lessen the teacher's burden from manual procedures to an automated and more accurate process. The students could view their class performance by requesting a printed copy of their records. On this slide, you can see the proposed systems and architect unifies them into a coherent and functional whole. The size and complexity of the Great Gizmo project is most significant factor in the overall duration. This project is considered large and has a great complexity, intensive school data, and include an administrative portal and user that involves a data warehouse. This illustration is a Gantt chart of the proposed systems design, development, testing, and implementation. Ramon Avenseño National High School, in cooperation with its stakeholders, should allot necessary financial support for the school development, specifically for the system to automate and upgrade its operations and Good day, everyone. Today I'll be presenting the project that involves a data warehouse. This illustration is a Gantt chart of the proposed systems design, development, testing, and implementation. Ramon Avenseño National High School, in cooperation with its stakeholders, should allot necessary financial support for the school development, specifically for the system to automate and upgrade its operations and transactions. The school should employ financial support for making and implementation of the Great Gizmo, a management information system. And behind the different recommendations discussed in this project, it will revolve around the following assumptions. To lessen the developmental cost of the information system, the senior high school students under the TVL track, specifically enrolled in the Information Communications and Technology strand, will be involved in the implementation of the project. The development of the new system will mostly depend mainly on the current projects must be carefully OE budget. This table shows the proposed financial plan for the design, development, testing, and implementation of additional information about the system. Once approved and the system is completed, the system must be implemented to ensure that it meets its desired functionality. The developer should test the design of a standalone computer to determine its functionality and efficiency, ensuring that the database works properly. Of course, debugging will be done subsequently, and the developer must make necessary changes in its features to meet the current needs, specifically the system's graphic views to teachers, and on other computers, the record section officer to test the system from him. The proposed system will be presented to the deliberating panel to determine competence and acceptability. Of course, there will be software evaluation form to evaluate the proposed system functions. The criteria for evaluation will be classified as traits which entail the system's usability, appropriateness of feedback to the user, navigation and organization, understandability, and reliability. Provisions to the mission to improve its most important service to the school is simplifying document preparation. As a result, this system will be developed to remedy existing infrastructure and ensure that the necessary school administration information system will be in place in time. By stressing the importance of using the information systems, of course, the principal should support this educational change and empower our stakeholders. Through this system, the process will now be more efficient with great gizmo, so less effort is required to save data or generate school reports. As a result, many processes will be completed efficiently and errors will be reduced. That ends my presentation. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.
Good day, everyone. I am Christine Paglinawan, and my project proposal is all about influence of homeroom guidance on academic performance of elementary pupils in Bawan District basis for proposed enhancement activities. So here are the project proposal contents, the executive summary, project background, solutions and approach, financial information, additional information, conclusion, references. Executive summary. This project aimed to determine the influence of homeroom guidance on academic performance of elementary pupils in Bawan District into the competencies. The descriptive method in this study, with the aid of researcher-made questionnaires as the main data gathering instrument. The respondents of the study were 50 homeroom guidance teachers from the public elementary schools in Bawan, Batangas. Homeroom guidance, the descriptive method of reasoning instrument. The respondent guidance teachers from the public elementary schools used are weighted to assess the competencies in homeroom guidance and determine the extent of academic performance undertaken by the respondents. Based on the findings of the study, the competencies in homeroom guidance were undertaken to a moderate extent. Furthermore, the teachers assessed pupils by the aligned competencies to a moderate extent. As an output of the study, the proponent recommends enhancement activities in teaching homeroom guidance. The following conclusions were drawn. Value oneself is the most performed competency in the homeroom guidance as assessed by the majority of understanding of oneself and others. School and community pupils. Pupils' attitude enhancement activities for the teachers' project background. The current pandemic has clearly affected the teaching and learning process that usually takes place in school. Certainly, our learners cannot avoid its impact in terms of their domains of development. While the department has been responsive through its basic education learning continuity plan, it is crucial to cater to the life skills development of learners, which will empower them to overcome the different challenges and adapt to the new normal brought about by the current crisis. Though the plan was to have the complete implementation of homeroom guidance in school year 2021-2022, accounting the needed preparations such as orientation, capacity building, learning materials development to senior high school which includes the K-12 basic education program, necessitated changes and revisions on existing DepEd programs to align them with the new curriculum. The K-12 curriculum puts emphasis on capacitating learners with skills in doing their task and enriching these different tasks. The existing academic programs must address different learning areas but is very essential to their development. Homeroom guidance has been found to have significantly decreased inappropriate behaviors and who were part. The study of Brigman and Campbell 2003 also showed that elementary and middle school learners who were part of the school counseling curriculum and group interventions that emphasize cognitive, social, and self-management skills have consistently exhibited good performance in mathematics and reading. Furthermore, the study of Klosberg et al. 2001 supported the effectiveness of homeroom guidance. They showed that there is a significant improvement in terms of learner behavior, attitude, and knowledge in the areas of goal setting, problem solving, career exploration, and school resources. Further, the study of Carey and Dimmitt 2012 found that attributed to the student's success to school programs, and this is particularly for the solutions and approach. The outcome of this project will help in educating and concomitantly serving as a guide to both parents and schools on the effect of homeroom guidance on the academic performance of elementary pupils in Bawang District. This project will also serve as a resource base to other teachers and researchers interested in carrying out further research in this field subsequently. To provide new, produce enhancement activities that are suitable for the teachers teaching homeroom guidance with the aim of using them as guides that will make them more effective and efficient teachers in this new normal setup. For vision, proposed project shall complement the goal and achieve academic success. It shall produce quality assured enhancement activities and is aligned to the most essential learning competencies or the MILK. Our expected timeline. This proposed project shall take effect in school year 2022-2023 and succeeding years immediately upon approval and publication. Information. The only expenses will be the printing or photocopy of enhancement activities. This can also be supported by our LGUs and other stakeholders. Glossary of terms. These are the following terms and their corresponding definition as spelled out below. Homeroom guidance is a comprehensive, developmental, and proactive program designed to equip K-12 learners with life skills. Learning competencies are the main ideas or skills that are expected for students to master. Enhancement activities are the teacher-made activities that can help improve performance. And based on the findings of the project, these were conclusions drawn. Value oneself is the most performed competency in homeroom guidance as assessed by the teachers. Then, the majority of the respondents strongly agreed on the competency of learners, which is to gain understanding of oneself and others. Academic success and applied society are the benefits which are acquired by the pupils. Pupils' attitude, distractions, and duties for affecting students' performance or the academic performance. Lastly, the proposed enhancement activities were designed for the teachers teaching homeroom guidance with the aim of using them as guides that will make them effective and efficient teachers. In the light of the findings and conclusions, the proposed enhancement activities may be reviewed before it could be offered to the teachers in the field. Also, the teachers may present the enhancement activities to the division supervisor for possible reutilization in the entire division. A similar project study may be conducted in schools not covered by this study to validate its. And here are the project proposal references. So once again, thank you and a pleasant day to each and everyone.
Hello, good day, my dear classmates and our dear professor. I would like to present to you my project proposal on this subject for my non-thesis fund. The proponent of this project is Mr. Jordan T. Luma. The purpose of recycling is multifold: prolong life of materials and thereby are minimize products of a new goods and save energy and cost, reduce unnecessary wastes, promote creativity and innovation, and eventually help mitigate climate change. Recycling goods for new good saves energy, reduce the amount of industrial work that needs to be done to create a new product. In this generation, the recyclable materials are rapidly increasingly such as plastics, the rubber, glass, etc. and it may cause harmful effects in our health, especially today. So recycling is one of the best ways for you to have a positive impact on the world in which we live. Recycling is important to both the natural environment and us. We must act fast as the amount of waste we created increasingly all the time. So therefore, our EcoFund is one of the more innovative example product made from the recyclable materials, and it is elite from the others and surely will give you excitement and satisfaction and use the alternative one which can also contribute to save our environment. My project background, the name of the proposed business or my project describes the materials of the product and the same time perception fun with a new twist of style of plastic bottle. Drinking straw that sell to the vendors, wholesalers, offices, and residences of Barangay 830, District 6, City of Manila, and the business offers a product which is good, useful, cheaper than and other product. It gives a preference to the customers of EcoFund. Solutions and approach on my target market. The proponent's target market will be the Barangay 830, District 6, City of Manila. Places it is really need because of packaging strategy for the product will be covered with cartoons and with all the layouts of pictures of the product outside the cover. So, the packaging is composed of the cartoons and packing tape with the complete it. And then process of packaging is we should measure the size of the products in order to determine also the size of its packaging. So after the product, it should be exposed to the customers to be easily purchased. EcoFund is available in the proponent store through the personal selling. The product, my quantity, the unit price, the daily or the monthly and the yearly, and the property, machines, and the equipment that I will use on my project. The overhead expenses, as you can see on my screen, the monthly and the yearly amount, pre-operating expense for the period of 2001 to 2025, information to promote my project. In promoting EcoFund, the management will be planning to have a TV advertisement and personally distribute flyers in every individual to inform the customers about the product. And also, it will be present into the through social media and every individual to inform the customers about the product. Also, the price of it since the product is off screen. The other is project business. EcoPan is composed of the plastic bottle of drinking straw. This recycled product is usually compared to other products. This product is affordable, cheaper, and environmental friendly than other. It feels the users relieved if they're going to use it, and it also gives freshness to all users. Productions and process operations as the upper part of the bottle and then part of the plastic bottle and connect the straw inside its hole. By posting it on and use it and connect the wire of the switch and attach the switch in the hole that is being made. Are plastic empty bottles, centropen, cutter, scissor, electric wire, stick glue, dynamo, switch, and DVD tape or other. Third, an eco-friendly method and recycled plastic bottle reduce emissions and consumptions of the raw materials, extended the life of the plant equipment such as project one is to clean the empty bottles, that is the operations, the putting mark of the bottle, cut the part of the bottle, put another mark, so to make a hole at the center of the straw, and being made. Reduce inventory and shorten delivery time and lower overall handling costs, manufacturing, distribution, and transportation. The materials are properly arranged and it is made sure that it's dry and clean. All the customer will surely buy. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources is the primary agency responsible for business by supporting our project. The scope of goods and the other services of this project, the contractor shall provide all goods or services and deliverables as required, described in detail below, and shall meet all the service and delivery timelines as specified by this contract. On my screen. And also, the project site, as you can see on my screen, the EcoVibe company is located on the Barangay 830, Zone 90, Manila, District 6, City of Manila. Is a competitor's nearby plant. The cost of the materials, the labor for the renovation, manufacturing process, scheduling is used to allocate plan and machinery resources plan, human resource, plan production, and purchase of other materials. As you can see on my screen, the machines, equipment, and utilities. One of the beneficiary of this project is the COVID-19 patients who are nearby on our barangay, the quarantine facility. We will, all the collections and all the profits that we will collect from this project business and going to my project proposal, it will help also to all the COVID-19 patients nearby on our barangay. Schools nearby. Project proposal will approve by our dear professors, Dr. Judith Batin. Increasingly, sense of economically as well as environmentally recent trends demonstrate a substantial increase in the rate of recovery in recycling plastic waste up to EcoPan. These trends are likely continue, but some significant challenges still exist from both technological factors and from economic, social behavior. On my presentation, this is my project proposal, recyclable materials using plastic bottles for the other amenities. this project proposal as I call an eco-pan. This is very affordable, especially on if we use other recyclable materials. This is used for the quarantine facility, especially on the COVID-19 patients on our barangay, because it is near in our barangay, the quarantine facility. It will also help our barangay in our barangay chairman in council. I will continue it, no, to produce this project, and it will help for my hope that this project will be approved.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that EcoFan ends our session this morning. We'll just make some adjustments for the rest of the other presenters. So we shall have them in the afternoon. We apologize for our time already, no, at 12:45. We would like to make mention that our exit evaluation is available in the chat box. So please click on it and submit the form so we can issue you a certificate of attendance. And then we are also issuing certificate of recognition to all that will be presenting their outputs. We will held in abeyance the open conversation to be led by our adjunct faculty, Dr. Balute. So he will have it in the afternoon session. So certificate of recognition is given also to all the presenters, and certificate of attendance, no, for those that will submit the evaluation as we register our names, no, for this session. So again, we would like to thank all of those who have joined us and those who have stayed. We are already late for lunch, but we shall continue. And I think by 1:30, we will start with the public administration. I think there are 3 of them. And then we have 1 for crisis management disaster resiliency program. And then 1 for the public health administration. And we will end with our 63 candidates for the Master in Hospital Administration. So all of those will be in this afternoon session. So we shall start by 1:30. Can we have a photo off for those who have stayed here before we end for our lunch? So we can thank you enough for being here present. Salamat po. Salamat ng marami. Yan. I think lahat tayo magkikita-kita sa March 27. So we can offer our sweet smiles before we embark on our lunch. So again po, i-remind ko, ang PCU ay mag-i-issue ng ating program para sa graduation. So I'll just update you kung kailan po siya available. As mentioned, within the week, available na po for pick up ang ating graduation program. And also, one guest is entitled, no? You are allowed to be accompanied by 1 guest, no? And that someone will be part of the ceremony. So aakyat ng stage, magdadala ng hood, no? So for the hooding. Okay? So importante po na may kasama tayo sa graduation. Sabi naman kanina, in case na wala kayong ka-date, so we can have some of the professors to join you, no, for the hooding. And may program po tayo, no? So ipipick up natin yan sa school. So I'll just update you when. And then for the additional guests, maximum of 2, yun po yung may bayad, no? So 2,000 each. So you just have to pay. Just show the receipt, no, dun sa PICC. So automatic po silang makapasok, no? Kasi limited yung ating plenary hall. I think may social distancing din. So I think that's the intention. So again, more updates, no, on graduation, and later as we resume, no, our session this afternoon at 1:30. So you can stay. I'll just end this session for recording purposes, and then we shall have the same link, no, for this afternoon session. So please click muna tayo ng ating evaluation. Nasa chat box para tayo magkaroon ng ating evaluation dun sa session na ito. And then in 3 minutes po, I'll close this program so we can have the recording of the morning session. Maraming salamat po. See you in a while. 1:30 po tayo. Thank you.